The Satavahanas were an Indian dynasty based in the Deccan region. The beginning of the Satavahana rule is dated variously from 271 BCE to 30 BCE. Satavahanas dominated the Deccan region from the 1st century BCE to the 3rd century CE. The dynasty reached its zenith under the rule of Gautamiputra Satakarni and his successor Vasisthiputra Pulamavi. The kingdom fragmented into smaller states in the early 3rd century CE. The most liberal estimates suggest that it lasted until around 220 CE. The Satavahana kingdom mainly comprised the present-day Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Maharashtra. At different times, the rule extended to the northern Karnataka, eastern and southern Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Saurashtra in Gujarat. The Satavahana capitals at various times included Amaravati, Pratishtana and Yurna. The origin of the dynasty is uncertain, but their ancestors could have been vassals to the Mauryans. After the end of the Mauryan rule, they established peace in the Deccan region and resisted the onslaught of foreigner invaders. In particular, the struggles with the Saka western satraps went on for a long time. The Satavahanas were early issuers of Indian state coinage struck with images of the rulers. They formed a cultural bridge and played a vital role in trade and the transfer of ideas and culture to and from the Indo-Gangetic plain to the southern tip of India. The Satavahanas patronized Prakrit language instead of Sanskrit. They supported Buddhism as well as Brahmanism, names and etymology. According to one theory, Satavahana is a Prakrit form of the Sanskrit Satavahana. This would indicate that the Satavahanas originally claimed descent from the legendary Solar dynasty, as was common in ancient India. Another theory connects the name to the earlier Satavahana dynasty. Yet another theory derived the name from the Munda words Sadam and Harpan, implying son of the performer of a horse sacrifice. A number of Satavahana rulers adopted the title Satakarni. Shalavahana is also considered a variation of Satavahana. According to Damodar-D. Kosambi, Satavahana, Satakarni and Shalavahana seem to be Sanskritized versions of the Dravidian word Satakarni. The Satavahanas are identified with dynasties mentioned by the names Andhra, Andhra-Jatiya and Andhra-Bhrtya in the Puranic literature. Although these names do not appear in the coins or inscriptions of the Satavahanas, the names of several Satavahana rulers overlap with the names mentioned in the Puranic chronologies of the Andhra dynasty. The term Andhra may refer to ethnicity or territory. The term Andhra-Bhrtya may be interpreted as Andhra servants, implying that the ancestors of the Satavahanas served as subordinates of Mauryas or Shungas. However, that term can also be interpreted as servants of Andhras, thus implying that they were feudatories of another dynasty that ruled Andhra. Another possibility is that Andhra-Bhrtya refers to a related dynasty that succeeded the Satavahanas. Origin. The date and place of origin of the Satavahanas, as well as the meaning of the dynasty's name, are a matter of debate among the historians. Some of these debates have happened in the context of regionalism, with the present-day Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Telangana being variously claimed as the original homeland of the Satavahanas. The Satavahana kings do not refer to themselves as Andhra in any of the coins or inscriptions, but the names match with the names of the Andhra dynasty rulers mentioned in the various Puranas. This has led a section of scholars to believe that the Satavahanas originated in the eastern Deccan, taken to be the homeland of the ancient Andhra tribe. At Koti Lingala in Telangana, coins bearing the legend Rano Siri Chimukha Satavahanasa were found. P.V. P. Sastry identified Shimuka with the dynasty's founder Simuka, making Koti Lingala the only place where coins attributed to Simuka have been found. Coins attributed to Simuka's successors Canva and Satakarni I have also been discovered at Koti Lingala. Based on these coins, historians such as D.R. Reddy, S. Reddy and Shankar Agarwal have argued that Kotlingala was the original home base of the Satavahanas. Kala M. Sinpoli argues that the coin samples from Kotlingala are small, and it is not known where they were minted or how they reached Koti Lingala. S. Chattopadhyaya also considers the discovery of early Satavahana coins in eastern Deccan as evidence of their origin there, arguing that the coins can travel via trade. Moreover, the identification of Chimuka of Koti Lingala with the dynasty's founder Simuka has been contested by several scholars including P. L. Gupta and I. K. Sama, who believe that Chimuka was a later ruler. P.V.P. Sastry also changed his view and later stated that the two kings were different. As for the Puranas, these texts were compiled much later, during the Gupta period, and it is not certain if the Satavahanas were referred to as Andhras during the time. The earliest extant Satavahana inscriptions, dated to c. 1st century BCE, have been found at Panduleni and Nanagat in present-day Maharashtra. The Nashik inscription was issued during the reign of Kanha, while the two inscriptions at Nanagat are associated with Satakarni I and his wife Naganika. The majority of the other early inscriptions have also been found in western Deccan. On the other hand, the epigraphic evidence from eastern Deccan does not mention the Satavahanas before 4th century CE. At Navasa, a seal and coins attributed to Kanha have been discovered. Coins attributed to Satakarni I have also been discovered at Nashik, Navasa and Pawnee. Based on these evidences, some historians argue that the Satavahanas initially came to power in the area around the capital Pratishtana and then expanded the territory to eastern Deccan. Moreover, Andhra has been used as a both tribal and territorial name. Vidyadhya theorizes that the writers of the Puranas mistook the Satavahana presence in eastern Deccan as evidence of their origin there, and called them Andhra. C. Margabandhu agrees that the Satavahanas came to power in western Deccan, but believes that they were called Andhra because of their ethnicity. They were from eastern Deccan, and had settled in the west as Mauryan subordinates. Sinpoli states that the inference about the western Deccan origin of the Satavahanas is tentative at best, given the small sample of inscriptions. A stupa in Kanaganahali, dated between 1st century BCE and 1st century CE, features limestone panels depicting portraits of Chimuka, Satakarni and other Satavahana rulers. In the Nashik inscription of Gautami Balashri, her son Gautamiputra Satakarni is called Ekabamharana, which is interpreted by some as unrivaled Brahmana, thus indicating of Brahman origin. However, R. G. Bandaka interprets this word as the only protector of the Brahmins. History. Establishment. Simuka is mentioned as the first king in a list of royals in a Satavahana inscription at Nanahat. According to Jain legends, he adopted Jainism, but, in the last years of his life, he became a tyrant, for which he was deposed and killed. The Puranas state that the first Andhra king ruled for 23 years, and mention his name variously as Sisuka, Sindhuka, Chismaka, Shipraka etc. These are believed to be corrupted spellings of Simuka, resulting from copying and recopying of manuscripts. Simuka cannot be dated with certainty based on available evidence. Based on the following theories, the beginning of the Satavahana rule is dated variously from 271 BCE to 30 BCE. According According to archaeologist Charles Hyam, the coin-based evidence suggests that Simuka's reign ended sometime before 120 BCE. The Matsya and Vayu Puranas mention that the first Andhra king overthrew the Canva ruler Susharman. Based on identification of Simuka with this king, some scholars believe that Simuka's reign started in 30 BCE. Scholars supporting this theory include D.C. Sarkar, H.C. Rakordhuri and others. The Matsya Purana mentions that the Andhra dynasty ruled for around 450 years. It is known that the Satavahana rule continued till the beginning of the early 3rd century. Therefore, the beginning of the Satavahana rule can be dated to 3rd century BCE. In addition, Indica by Megasthenes mentions a powerful tribe named Andari, whose king maintained an army of 100,000 infantry, 2,000 cavalry and 1,000 elephants. If Andari is identified with the Andhras, this can be considered additional evidence of Satavahana rule starting in 3rd century BCE. According to this theory, Simuka was an immediate successor of the Mauryan emperor Ashoka. Its proponents argue that the Canvas were interregnal rulers who grabbed power from the Satavahanas. The last Canva ruler Susharman was overthrown by a Satavahana successor of Simuka. Scholars supporting this theory include A.S. Altecker, K. P. Jayuswal, V. A. Smith and others. Sudhakar Chattopadhyaya also supports the Canva Interregnum theory, but argues that it was Simuka who overthrew the Canva rule. Chronologies of the Satavahana kings are mentioned in the following Puranas: Matsya, Vayu, Vishnu's Brahmanda, and Bhagavata. The various Puranas give different chronologies of the Andhra kings. Even among the different manuscripts of the same Purana, there are substantial differences between the number of kings stated, the number of kings actually named, the names of the kings, and the length of the reigns. In some manuscripts, the number of kings is mentioned as 30, and the total reign is mentioned around 450 years. However, many of these actually name only 17 to 19 kings, and the total reign adds up to around 300. Sudhakar Chattopadhyaya explains these inconsistencies as follows. The original Satavahana rule started somewhere in the second half of the 3rd century BCE. For this point, around 30 Satavahana kings ruled for nearly 450 years until 220–225 CE. During this period there was a Canva Interregnum. According to Chattopadhyaya, the Brahmanda Purana states, the 4 Canvas will rule the earth for 45 years, then will again go to the Andhras. This indicates that after overthrowing the Canvas, the Satavahanas regained the power. For this point, around 17 to 19 kings ruled for nearly 300 years until 220–225 CE. He further argues that Simuka was the person who overthrew Canvas. The compiler of the Puranas confused him with the founder of the dynasty. Early expansion Simuka was succeeded by his brother Kanha, who extended the kingdom up to Nashik in the west. His successor Satakarni the first conquered western Malwa, Inupa and Vidarbha, taking advantage of the turmoil caused by Greek invasions of northern India. He performed Vedic sacrifices including Ashvamedha and Rajasulya. Instead of the Buddhists, he patronized Brahmins and donated substantial amount of wealth to them. The Hadagambha inscription of the Kalinga king Karavela mentions a king named Satakarni or Satakarmini, who is identified with Satakarni. The inscription describes dispatching of an army and Karavela's threat to a city. Since the inscription is only partially legible, different scholars interpret the events described in the inscription differently. According to R. D. Banerjee and Sailendranath Sen Kharavela sent out an army against Satakarni. According to Bhagwal Lal, Satakarni wanted to avoid an invasion of his kingdom by Kharavela, so he sent horses, elephants, chariots and men to Kharavela as a tribute. According to Sudhakar Chattopadhyaya, Kharavela's army diverted its course after failing to advance against Satakarni. According to Alan Danielu, Kharavela was friendly with Satakarni and only crossed his kingdom without any clashes. Satakarni's successor Satakarni II ruled for 56 years, during which he captured eastern Malwa from the Shungas. He was succeeded by Lambodara. The coins of Lambodara's son and successor Apalaka have been found in eastern Madhya Pradesh. First Saka invasion. Little is known about Apalaka's successors, except cryptic references to one Kuntala Satakarni. The next well-known ruler of the dynasty was Hala, who composed Gatha Satasai in Maharashtra Prakrit. Around this time, the Sakas invaded the Satavahana kingdom. Like Hala, his four successors also ruled for very short periods, indicating troubled times for the Satavahanas. The western Kshatripa king Navapana defeated the Satavahanas and ruled the territory for nearly half a century. First revival. The Satavahana power was revived by Gautamiputra Satakarni, who is considered the greatest of the Satavahana rulers. Charles Hum dates his reign c. 103–127 CE. S. Nagaraju dates it 106–130 CE. Gautamiputra defeated Navapana and recovered the territories lost to the Sakas. His kingdom extended from the present-day Rajasthan in the north to Krishna River in the south, and from Saurashtra in the west to Kalinga in the east. He assumed the titles Raja and Maharaja and was described as the Lord of Vindhya. The Nashik inscription of his mother Gautami Balashri, dated to the 20th year after his death, records his achievements. During the last years of his reign, his administration was apparently handled by his mother, which could have been a result of an illness or military preoccupation. According to the Nashik inscription made by his mother Gautami Balashri, he is the one who crushed down the pride and conceit of the Kshatriyas, who destroyed the Sakas, Javanas and Pallavas, who rooted out the Kakarata family, who restored the glory of the Satavahana race. Gautamiputra was the first Satavahana ruler to issue to the portrait-type coinage in a style derived from the western satraps. Gautamiputra was succeeded by his son Vasisthiputra Pulamavi. According to Sailendranath Sen, Pulamavi ruled from 96119 CE. According to Charles Hyam, he ascended the throne around 110 CE. Pulamavi features in a large number of Satavahana inscriptions and his coins have been found distributed over a wide area. This indicates that he maintained Gautamiputra's territory and ruled a prosperous kingdom. He is believed to have added the Bellary region to Satakarni's kingdom. His coins featuring ships with double mast have been found on the Coromandel coast, indicating involvement in maritime trade and naval power. The old stupa at Amaravati was renovated during his reign. Second Saka invasion. Pulamavi's successor was his brother Vasisthiputra Satakarni. According to SN, he ruled during 120–149 CE. According to Charles Hyam, his regnal years spanned 138–145 CE. He entered into a marriage alliance with the western satraps, marrying the daughter of Rudradaman I. The Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman Rudradharman I states that he defeated Satakarni, the lord of Dakshinapatha, twice. It also states that he spared the life of the defeated ruler because of close relations. Rudradharman, who obtained good report because he, in spite of having twice in fair fight completely defeated Satakarni, the lord of Dakshinapatha, on account of the nearness of the connection, did not destroy him. Quote, according to D.R. Bhandarkar and Dinesh Chandra Sarkar, the ruler defeated by Rudradharman was Gautamiputra Satakarni. However, E.J. Rapson believed that the defeated ruler was his son Vasisthiputra Pulamavi. Shailendra Nath Sen and Charles Hyam believed that the defeated ruler was Vasisthiputra's successor Shivaskandara Shiva Sri Pulamavi. As a result of his victories, Rudradharman regained all the former territories previously held by Nathapana, except for the extreme south territories of Pune and Nashik. Satavahana dominions were limited to their original base in the Deccan and eastern central India around Amaravati. Second revival Sri Yajna Satakarni, the last person belonging to the main Satavahana dynastic line, briefly revived the Satavahana rule. According to SNSN, he ruled during 170–199 CE. Charles Hyam dates the end of his reign to 181 CE. His coins feature images of ships, which suggest naval and marine trade success. Wide distribution of his coins, and inscriptions at Nashik, Kanari and Guntur indicate that his rule extended over both eastern and western parts of Deccan. He recovered much of the territory lost the western Kshatrapas, and issued silver coinage imitating them. During the last years of his reign, the Abhiras captured the northern parts of the kingdom around Nashik region. Decline. After Yajna Satakarni, the dynasty was soon extinguished following the rise of its feudatories, perhaps on account of a decline in central power. Jajanashri was succeeded by Madariputra Swami as Varasena. The next king Vijaya ruled for 6 years. His son Vasisthiputra Sri Chada Satakarni ruled for 10 years. Pulamavi IV, the last king of the main line, ruled until c. 225 CE. During his reign, several Buddhist monuments were constructed at Nagarjunakonda and Amaravati. Madhya Pradesh was also part of his kingdom. After the death of Pulamavi IV, the Satavahana Empire fragmented into 5 smaller kingdoms. Northern part, ruled by a collateral branch of the Satavahanas. Western part around Nashik, ruled by the Abhiras. Eastern part, ruled by the Andhra Ikshvakas. Southwestern parts, ruled by the Chutas of Banavasi. Southeastern part, ruled by the Pallavas. Administration. The Satavahanas followed the administration guidelines from the Shastras. The government was less top-heavy than that of the Mauryans, and featured several levels of feudatories. Rajan, the hereditary rulers. Rajas, petty princes who stuck coins in their own names. Maharajas, hereditary lords who could grant villages in their own names and maintained matrimonial relations with the ruling family. Mahabjas, Mahasenapati, Mahatalavara. The royal princes were appointed as viceroys of the provinces. Economy. The Satavahanas controlled the eastern coast of India along the Bay of Bengal, and as a result, they dominated the growing Indian trade with the Roman Empire. The Periplus of the Erythraean Sea mentions 2 important Satavahana trade centers, Pratishtana and Tagara. Other important urban centers included Kondapur, Banavasi and Madhavpur. Nanahat was the site of an important pass that linked the Satavahana capital Pratishtana to the sea. During 6070 BCE, the consorts of Satakarni set up inscriptions detailing the donations via coinage. The Satavahanas of the first rulers to issue their own coins with portraits of the rulers, starting with King Gautamiputra Satakarni, a practice derived from that of the western satraps he defeated, itself originating with the Indo-Greek kings to the northwest. Satavahana coins give unique indications as to the chronology, language, and even facial features. They issued mainly lead and copper coins. The portrait-style silver coins were usually struck over coins of the western Kshatrapa kings. The coin legends of the Satavahanas, in all areas and all periods, used the Prakrit dialect without exception. Some reverse coin legends are in Tamil and Telugu language, which seems to have been in use in the heartland abutting the Godavari, Koti Lingala, Karamnagar in Telangana, Krishna Amaravati, Guntur in Andhra Pradesh. The coins also display various traditional symbols, such as elephants, lions, horses and chaitiyas, as well as the Ujjain symbol, a cross with 4 circles at the end. Cultural achievements of the Satavahana kings. Hala is famous for compiling the collection of Maharashtri poems known as the Gatha Satasai, although from linguistic evidence it seems that the work now extant must have been re-edited in the succeeding century or two. The Satavahanas influenced Southeast Asia to a great extent, spreading Hindu culture, language and religion into that part of the world. The coins had images of ships. Art of Amaravati. The Satavahana rulers are also remarkable for their contributions to Buddhist art and architecture. They built great stupas in the Krishna River Valley, including the stupa at Amaravati in Andhra Pradesh. The stupas were decorated in marble slabs and sculpted with scenes from the life of the Buddha, portrayed in a characteristic slim and elegant style. The Satavahana Empire colonized Southeast Asia and spread Indian culture to those parts. The Amaravati style of sculpture spread to Southeast Asia at this time. Art of Sanchi. The Satavahanas contributed greatly to the embellishment of the Buddhist stupa of Sanchi. The gateways and the balustrade were built after 70 BCE, and appear to have been commissioned by them. An inscription records the gift of one of the top architraves of the southern gateway by the artisans of the Satavahana Emperor Satakarni. Gift of Ananda, the son of Vasisthiputra, the foreman of the artisans of Rajan Siri Satakarni. List of rulers. Because of uncertainty regarding the establishment date of the Satavahana kingdom, it is difficult to give absolute dates for the reigns of the Satavahana kings. Multiple Puranas contain chronology of Satavahana kings. However, there are inconsistencies among the various Puranas over the number of kings in the dynasty, the names of the kings, and the length of the rule. In addition, some of the kings listed in the Puranas are not attested via archaeological and numismatic evidence. Similarly, there are some kings known from coins and inscriptions, whose names are not found in the Puranic lists. The reconstructions of the Satavahana kings by historians fall into 2 categories. According to the first one, 30 Satavahana kings ruled for around 450 years, starting from Simuka's rule immediately after the fall of the Mauryan Empire. This view relies heavily on the Puranas, and is now largely discredited. According to the second category of reconstructions, the Satavahana rule started in around 1st century BCE. Chronologies in this category contain a smaller number of kings, and combine Puranic records with archaeological, numismatic and textual evidence. Himanshu Prabha Ray provides the following chronology, based on archaeological and numismatic evidence. Sudhakar Chattopadhyaya believes that Simukha was not the founder of the original dynasty, rather its reviver after the Canva Interregnum. According to him, some Purana compilers confused Simukha with the dynasty's founder, and introduced inaccurate names to fill the resulting gaps in the chronology. Accordingly, he dates Simukha's reign to c. 307 BCE, and Satakarni the 1st to 1st century CE. Puranic lists the names of the Andhra kings, as mentioned in the various Puranas, are given below. The names vary across different manuscripts of the same Puranas, and some names are missing in some of the manuscripts. The list given below for each Purana contains the most exhaustive version. In the Puranas, Krishna is described as brother of the first king, who overthrew the Canva king Sushaman. All other kings are described as sons of the predecessors. The names and years in brackets indicate alternatives given in various manuscripts. The first king is also known as Shudraka Asuraka in the Kumarika Kanda of Skanda Purana. Purana-based lists. S. Nagaraju relies on the Puranic lists of 30 kings, and gives the following regnal dates. Dr. M. Rama Rao gives the following chronology, with gaps indicating uncertainty.